Well, I believe through the first 2 decades of that run, there was the core was you, Mary Stewart, and Melba Ray.
That's right. Way. How do you know all that?
Oh, well, I've done some research.
So young. Yes, that was the nucleus.
Yes, and I know it was a tremendous shock when Melba had died so unexpectedly.
Well,
And in fact, I read about the fact that I think when you spoke with Melba, who played your wife on the series, that you had I think you had accidentally called your real life wife Melba several occasions because I think you about the time you spent with Melba was more than you spent.
I was away from home more than I was present.
Yeah.
But that was a tragic experience. Melba was due on the show that morning, one morning. And the director received a phone call from her then husband saying that Melba was taken on an emergency basis to the hospital in New York City. And she was in a coma. And the following day, we were told that she had passed away of a cerebral hemorrhage. And that was very sad. That was very sad.
Yeah.
Melba was a marvelous, marvelous woman. Marvelous to work with. Well, so was Mary, for that matter. We were all, the camaraderie was the important thing. You know, it's like a good team having teamwork and all playing for one another. And no selfishness involved in, gee, your part's bigger than mine, or mine is bigger than yours. It was, let's do what we can for each other to make the show work. And that's the way we always played.
It's funny that you mention that, because camaraderie and teamwork, I sense nowadays, are in terms of modern soap production, aren't really the impetus. In fact, if anything, it's probably the opposite, because there are so many. I think certain actors and actresses that are always called daytime divas, and I never really thought that Mary Stewart would have been that person, because of the fact that, yes, granted, she took on the character and did very, very well with it of Joanne, and I know that there were certain issues that she fought for her character, which showed the producers over at the network that she really believed in what she was doing. But nowadays it seems, unfortunately, that it's not so much story driven as much as very attractive looking young people who just stare into the camera for a couple of seconds for a reaction shot, and apparently that's your scene.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Joey. I have never met any actress, actor, whatever you want to call it, who was more concerned with a show's success than Mary Stewart was. She was probably more concerned with everything that was going on, the sets, the script, the performances, helping everybody. Even though there was dialogue that was not really her character's dialogue, she would write little cue words on, I remember once she wrote something on the inside of a coffee cup, which was a piece of a prop that we were using in a scene we were playing. And she inadvertently forgot that was only during rehearsal. On the air, there was coffee poured into it, which erased that whole line, but God, she didn't have to refer to it. But Mary was that meticulous and that careful and that caring. If a new character came on, boy, she was right there to lend a helping hand. She was that kind of gal. Unbelievable.
A thorough professional, someone that's very lacking in
Well, I'll tell you another thing, Joey, that I find alarming, a little distasteful, is the lack of, what shall I say? I remember when the early days of Search for Tomorrow, if there was a scene in a husband and wife bedroom, the scene had to be dressed, which is the twin beds,
Hmm.
not a double bed. Even though the beds were never used, it was just the set had to be twin beds. I remember if there was a scene where somebody wanted to smoke a cigarette, or if it were indicated in the script that that character was smoking a cigarette, it had to be a bad guy, not one of the good guys who could smoke in the scene. And I could go on and on and on, but things have changed. I don't know, maybe I'm square. But
No.
I preferred it that way. I am, frankly, extremely shocked at language I hear on television.
It's unfortunately,
I mean, it's ridiculous, and there's no need for it.
Yeah, there's no need. You can easily tell a story and make it as thought-provoking and gripping and powerful without the language.
Right. Which is why, I love men like George Burns and people like that who could tell stories without having to go off color. Humor. People can be humorous without resorting to that.
Oh, indeed. Well, I know that your character of Stu Bergman was created along with the character of Marge that Melba had played until her untimely passing as kind of a friend to be sheltered from the storm that Joanne had always ended up being involved in one way or another. And I know that Stu Bergman is a character lovingly remembered by longtime soap fans everywhere. During the long run that you were involved in on Search, was there any single event or storyline that you recall that particularly stands out in your mind, something that you feel is particularly significant?
Well, this is sad to say that my most vivid memory was our last shoot when the show went off the air, and Mary and I played the final curtain, and I don't know, there's somehow that I have that tape of that scene, and there was a break in my voice when I spoke with her, and it broke Mary down, and we both were very tearful. It was very sad, and the most memorable of all, even though it was the saddest of all. There were so many good scenes. Boy, I can't remember them all, Joey. I just loved the show. I loved the people. I loved playing it. And the most flattering and the most rewarding aspect of the whole thing is that to this day, and I can't get over this, people will come up and say, "Hey, aren't you the actor who used to be on television?" And that touches me deeply because there's nothing more rewarding than that, than being remembered, and that's great compensation to me.
Well, that's good. So as long as it's not a housewife who hits you with her handbag.
That's cute.
Yes.